that we have so much available to us that sometimes it's hard to like choose where to focus our minds on. And so maybe we can talk about working together. I think that's very important, working together, all of us as a unit. And so the insight that happened with a conversation that I have with Abel Mack yesterday was based on the following question. What is the greatest need in the world right now, right, that we can satiate? And Abel said, well, the need of employment. And so then I asked the question, I asked the following question. I'm like, well, if that's the need, how can we use Bitcoin to satiate the need for unemployment or for employment in the world? We have a lot of developers that are concerned about employment with the rise of language models and so forth. For example, a lot of developers are coming out of university and they're finding that there are less and less jobs, for example, right? So how do you solve the problem for employment is one question. And so then we asked this, the follow-up question was, well then, can Bitcoin solve the problem of employment? And how would that look like? So then that carried into a giant conversation within the Mandala network, where I was speaking with WAGs and Cryptocrates, and the conversations there. Y'all just go to the Mandala network and listen to it. Essentially, the conversation revolved around a thought experiment based on abundance. And this thought experiment came about from reading Craig Wright's article on how we get multicast, anycast, and multicast within multicast to achieve 1 billion transactions per second. What does that mean, guys? It means that we have the ability to live in that abundance mindset as Bitcoiners. So furthermore, what does that even translate to? It translates that any question that you have in regards to Bitcoin, the proper answer is abundance. The proper answer is an abundant answer. So, okay, great. So what would an abundant manifestation of Bitcoin solving the employment problem be? Answer, the most abundant answer would be, well, how about if we how about if we just embrace Bitcoin fully together at the same time? It means that we build Bitcoin together. Well, what does that mean, build Bitcoin together? So I'll give you this. This is the thought experiment. Imagine that there was just one site. Funny how we use the word sites, right? And we started talking about this site because we're about Satoshi's vision, right? So imagine if us Bitcoiners all had one site, one literal site into Bitcoin, S-I-T-E, but also one literal site, S-I-G-H-T, into Bitcoin. And what if that site allowed us to come together and work together? What would that site be about? It would be a site that would be hosted by Bitcoin, because Bitcoin gives us the infrastructure to be the most scalable platform ever. So we would all have access to this one site, whether it be through various different domains that gave us to the same site, but the site and everything within this site is hosted on the same Bitcoin blockchain that we all have access to. Within this site, everything is welcome. Abundance. Again, remember the question is the answer is abundance in Bitcoin, right? Abundance, right? And what is being solved here is the problem of unemployment, right? Okay. So what if within this site we started communicating as Bitcoiners to figure out the problem of unemployment by using our Bitcoin without spending our Bitcoin? In other words, by locking, right? In order to achieve what? In order to achieve what Bitcoin desires. In other words, job postings, and in order to achieve results for those postings to lead to solutions provided by whom? By workers that sustain services that they personally are in charge of within this site. And that solution in itself is a compensation for the worker that provided that solution within the site, because we have the ability to find profit See, that's the difference with us guys, because we have microtransactions. We have the ability to find profit in the smallest of movements on Bitcoin. So imagine one site, instead of being there, everyone having their own project, but we all focus on just one site on Bitcoin. Now, this site is unbounded. This site is abundant. This site welcomes all ideas. This, and well, I mean all ideas. I mean all ideas. This site is hosted on Bitcoin, and this site is a place where Bitcoiners post jobs that they want to see fulfilled, and other Bitcoiners fulfill the jobs. However you want to jumpstart this, the incentive, if there's any added incentives that are necessary for any job to get done, that is up for the market to decide. And we are, and for then this paradigm, everyone is welcome to come up with whatever idea, tokenomics, DAOs, what have you, to figure out how to jumpstart any endeavor within the site. But ultimately, the greatest compensation is residual income, right? Because everyone really wants passive income at the end of the day, right? So if what you create as a creator within the site is something that Bitcoiners truly love and need, your job, you will be fulfilling your necessity for passive income by maintaining and making that aspect of the site that you yourself have taken charge of awesome for as long as you want. And maybe someone in the future will surpass you in providing that same service, but better. So all we're doing is, in reality, is embracing Bitcoin through a GUI interface, if that makes sense. It's just Bitcoin, guys, this site idea, right? And it's an idea that the idea itself and the way that I'm expressing it cannot even be exhausted by the way I'm expressing it. You have to grab what you understood me just say and try out in creating the site as much as possible. Essentially, what I'm trying to tell you here is that in the future, there will only be one domain in the entire internet, and that domain will be called Bitcoin. Do you understand what I'm saying? Do you understand? Do you understand the vision here? So that's pretty much it. It's an idea, and an idea based on a lot of on abundance, because we as Bitcoiners here in BSV have the ability to dream big. And our job as Bitcoiners, like Daniel Krawitz says in his famous video, Homo Bitcoinus, is to find reality. And the truth is that we have to acquiesce our minds to the reality of the abundance that Bitcoin truly offers. And so when we embrace that reality, our minds automatically become abundant. And I challenge you guys to really embrace that. And when you do that, you'll notice that your minds, your thoughts, the way you've done things in the past starts to change. What's up, Gavin?
So, like, when you say we're in Bitcoin, I mean, it seems like you're blending the spiritual side of it with the future of the internet, and where you're. Help me understand what you mean by that.
Okay, I'll give you an example. There's a famous author by the name of Martin Buber. And he echoes what has been said throughout philosophy, Western philosophy, which is that there's this idea of what human personhood means. Personhood, a human person isolated by themselves is not truly the fulfillment of his personhood. You become a person the moment you are in relation to another person or another intellectual agent. It's where you have that I-thou dynamic. So it's not really spiritual. It's actually very human, to desire to be in relation to another, it's actually very natural. Our Dunbar number, it's naturally like 150. Google Dunbar number. It's what our weight, our physique is capable of encompassing in our biologic life. It's 150 people. That's why Gore-Tex only had buildings where they could have 150 employees, right? The Gore-Tex experiment that led to the creation of his awesome company, right? Where we have a lot of cool winter clothing and whatever. But our Dunbar number increases in Bitcoin as persons. Here, we're using a medium to communicate, which is X. That increases my Dunbar number, increases your Dunbar number, but it's one that is limited because there's no assurance of the person-to-person dynamic, the P2P dynamic. There's no assurance. You literally just started talking about how many of your fellow Bitcoiners have been censored. It's innately with you to desire that freedom to connect with other Bitcoiners. And it bothered you, Gavin, that you noticed that Casey was censored, that many other Bitcoiners have been censored. Well, we have the network as a gift from Satoshi, Craig Wright, where we can be in personal relationship with each other. We become more persons when we are in Bitcoin. Our personhood, here, let me frame it this way. Our personhood is honored in Bitcoin. That P2P dynamic is honored in Bitcoin. Bitcoin brings back the sacredness of our P2P relationship, where it cannot be abused by an eavesdropper, manipulator, central planner.
Their greatest fear is that heart-to-heart connection between us. That's why they want to put that middleman in between everybody. So I completely agree with what you're saying there, Raf.
So exactly. So we are in the place and time right now as Bitcoiners where we are capable of dreaming beyond what, and thinking and doing beyond what anyone in any corporation is capable of even fathoming. Our reality is ahead of the rest. And I highly recommend that you guys read Satoshi's latest writing on multicast to multicast, on any cast, on how it is that he shows us, he gives us a vision into how Bitcoin spans to billions of transactions per second. That is our reality. Our job as Bitcoiners is to find reality. And Bitcoin's motor in finding reality, our engine, is called profit seeking. I'm echoing now the emperor of Bitcoin, Daniel Krawitz. Profit seeking is Bitcoin's motor. We need to find profit. And we are the luckiest of people in Bitcoin history because we have the most mature Bitcoin network. We have the real Bitcoin that allows you to find profit no matter how minuscule on chain. It's phenomenal. So let's work together, because we all gonna make it took on a completely different meaning on this 21E8. On this 21E8, WAGMI, we're all gonna make it, means literally that we are all gonna make it. Team Bitcoin is us here. So we have to make it. We're gonna make it. And I think that Abel is right. Abel Mack is right. What the biggest issue right now is the problem of employment in the world. So let's use Bitcoin to solve the problem of employment. What I described as the site, that's just the first idea that came to mind.
Wow, dude, deep, bro. We're freaking really going off tonight, man. We're really getting into it. This is intense. So we got a good topics tonight, man. This is great. So I see Todd was up there. We got Mitch. feel free to jump up. I thought I had an open forum for people to come in. I guess it's not open on the mic. I thought it was, but I don't see it. It's opened up for people. So you're welcome to jump up and join if you want to chat and come up on the stage. Feel free. Casey will let you in and chime in. If you start, cussing or trolling anybody, then we'll probably just ask you to step back down. But if you want to just bring some value and positive and not be what was the word that Raf called it? The vibe killer guy, the cooler. If you don't want to be, if you're going to be the cooler, we're going to ask you to step back down. We got a good vibe going tonight. So, the cooler. Yeah. So, the, one of the things I'm kind of more the law guy, so I want to just bring something up here with this patent thing that brought Raf, that's rather fascinating to me that nobody seems to be picking up on. And Todd wrote it yesterday or a couple of days ago. 90% of 90% of enterprise blockchains fail, and how to be the 10%. Oh, there's one of them about one of Todd's articles, and there's another one that he wrote about these patents, and it's it's talking about how there is a giant in the room, and he really breaks it down with the 5 elements of all, but that are all covered. Oh, there's Craig right there. Wonder if he wants to join us. He just chatted on that post that you made, Casey. You just put that out there, so maybe you can ask him to join in if he wants to. You can join space. Join into speakers panel.
Hey, and one last thing about the site
Go ahead.
idea. The site idea it has to be so abundant that even your idea of a Bitcoin wallet is completely different, where like a person just logs into the site, just literally just chooses a username, and automatically a wallet is generated for them. And everything that they do on the site, since Bitcoin's so abundant and allows us, any one of us can subsidize billions of transactions with a couple $100. Everything the person does on the site is free. It's subsidized by other Bitcoiners. Whatever they want to ask on chain, whatever they want to post on chain, or whatever a job offering or job post that they want to do on chain, it's free. You see how abundant Bitcoin is, bro?
Yeah.
Beautiful. We don't even have the onboarding problem solved. Bitcoin itself solves its own onboarding problem. It's just beautiful, dude. There's like, all we have to do is just step into it now. We're all going to make it.
Heck yeah. Dude, looks like we got my main man, Mitch. I miss you, bro. Welcome. And I'm so glad that you made it. How in the hell are you doing?
I've been busy. I've been working like crazy. I mean, 20 hours a day some days. Just trying to get everything in the right place. But I thought I could add some value here as
Please.
far as talking about the site. And I think so not that I don't get the vision. I do. And it's pretty spectacular, but I think that there are steps to get there. And one of the most critical steps that exists today is the BRC100 standard. The site is the BRC100 standard. Now, if you're not familiar with that critical piece of intellectual property that Ty Everett gave to the world, and Braden and Tone, that is the site. BRC100 allows Bitcoin to be in every site. Every site. Anything that touches the internet can now have a vendor neutral Bitcoin plugin without anyone holding the keys. You don't have to worry about losing access. You've got your own personal digital identity. You can plug into any site. That's what makes the site. That's what makes Bitcoin the base layer. And I think that's the precursor, because we have to integrate into every site. The reality is that we can't solve the world's, employment problems without getting all of the people onto Bitcoin, but they're not here. And even the people that think they know Bitcoin have no fucking clue what's going on. The people that have been in it for 20 years still don't know what's going on. Satoshi came out and said, "Hey, I scaled it." And they said, "You're not Satoshi." And so what we have to do is we have to go meet them where they're at. And that means plugging in to every site and giving them blockchain functionality without them needing to know, without them needing to understand what the rails are. And that's what's going to give us the abundance and bring people more money in their pockets without spending 3% on Stripe every day. Right? The small businesses can survive because they've got payment rails that scale, and they've got payment rails that allow you to tokenize assets and secure your data on chain cheaply, locally, immutably, right? We have to go to them, and that's an education problem that, Todd's going after, and that's critical. It's also, a business problem that we have to compete against each other to bring it to fruition. It's not just we have to bring yes, we need to work together. And that's what I'm saying, is that the substrate for working together is the BRC100 standard. It allows us to work in the same direction, in the same site, while competing to get the best out of each other. So if you never heard of BRC100 or the MetaNet client, that's the future of Bitcoin. Ty Everett built the MetaNet. Nchain tried, they failed. Ty Everett did it, and he gave it to us in BRC100. And that is what builds the rails of the MetaNet.
Dude.
I just wanted to throw this out here real quick. Ty invited me tomorrow to hop on a video with him so we can record some content where we walk through getting the MetaNet client and some identity stuff and payment stuff on video, where I'm just asking questions like any normie would that's watching, and then we're gonna break it up into short form content and stuff. But keep an eye out for that, just for anyone that's interested in this topic, because we're gonna start creating some information about it.
Yeah, that's great. That's critical.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Why is this
So
so?
a binary, there seems to be like many different approaches to market, and we've always had that in BSV history because we are so abundant. So the idea of the sites that I threw out there is something for us Bitcoiners here that are listening. If anyone wants to have employment on chain, by all means, grab that idea and start off with other Bitcoiners now, because there are people in BSV that obviously have been hurt by all the attacks that BSV has lived through. It's good to know that we have the technology to satiate needs of Bitcoiners right now. You know what I'm saying? But I totally agree with you regarding BRC 100. And I am personally, my desire is to take this technology and expand hackathons. So I'm just going to tell you guys right now, it's 21EA. Why not celebrate? But we're going to do a hackathon, a BSV hackathon in Colombia, South America. We don't know the date yet. It was going to happen. And it's because Colombia was the first country in the world to celebrate Craig Wright as Satoshi. So we're going to start a Latin American conference hackathon tour, and we're going to be working with Babage. It's going to just be a continuation of what Babage has already done in Austin, what they're going to do in Oregon. We're just going to take it to South America because look, man, Bitcoiners in this community here have an idea of what they would want. So an idea like the site that I threw out there, something that like within people within BSV right now, that's an idea that we can all work on together. Because right now, Bitcoin, we've always had like this innate, almost I would call it like, excuse the language, but baggage from the old world where like Bitcoiners have come in with their own idea with their own, their own way of doing business, their own way of engaging the blockchain. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's just Bitcoin allows us for more abundant expressions of the way we do things. So why not experiment with abundant ways of doing things? And the site doesn't even have a set goal. Like, the goal will be found by Bitcoiners themselves within this thought experiment. So yeah, there's different to market strategies. I think they all should be celebrated, and I think every Bitcoiner should passionately go after what they are, what they really desire to do. There's no wrong path to the top. To kind of chime Gavin's motto there.
See you at
There's
the top.
there's no wrong way to the top. Like, there's so many paths to market with Bitcoin. So yeah, we'll see you at the top. So yeah, by all means, man. But I definitely think that what Babage is doing is something that we all should rally around, because like you said, Binary, it is the standard right now, and it is the standard. So yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, it's just got to stay the standard. And yeah, I haven't been here for very long in BSV, but from what I can tell, it's been a splintered go-to-market strategy that has caused, the delays and the business failures. And we've been waiting for something to unify the site and move us forward so that we're not competing on the platform level, and we can allow Bitcoin to be the platform rather than living in Web 2 land like everyone seems to want to do. And so that's why Ty is so critical to this, and that's why he said it himself. He's going to impose the standard, and he shouldn't have to. We should understand exactly why he's doing it, and we need to rally behind that, and we need to build and compete against each other to iterate on that, so that people have access to the best tools, so that we can each drive and get our sector of the pie, our piece of the pie, then grow the pie. And that's what's gonna make this thing run, make this thing work long term, and allow Bitcoin to actually be the platform rather than applications locking people in the same way that Web 2 did.
So BRC100 is not a token standard proper like we're used to. It's more like a vendor um, oriented standard, correct? Could you explain a little bit more about exactly what it is? It's a neutral.
It's a vendor neutral wallet to application interface. So
Awesome.
the BRC 100 wallet, so the new SDKs and the new MetaNet client, which aren't that new actually. The Ty built these things like 2 years ago, right? And then BSVA just got hip to it. But the idea is that you have to have the vendor neutral application to wallet communication layer and standard, so that anyone can go compete on the wallet front end, but every app still works. And that's what makes Bitcoin the actual substrate, the actual base layer. It's no longer, hand cash backend that powers the applications and CentBees all by itself, or Rock Wallet can't interconnect. If I have a wallet that's BRC100 standard, it can talk to every application on Bitcoin. That's the site, right? it, it's nothing more than that, right? In the short term, medium term, potentially long term, there are going to be domains, but the site is Bitcoin, the totality of it, all consuming. Every action, every interaction, every transaction runs through those rails. We can tokenize everything. Everything is SPV built in already, right? We don't need indexers. Know what you have. You can verify what you need. Merkle proofs. This is how you scale it to 1 billion. It requires the Babbage stack. It requires BRC100 so that we can have interoperable applications. So that I can go build, NetSuite, but I don't have to maintain, I don't have to make sure that everyone uses my wallet interface to plug in. If JP Morgan builds a wallet, right, and Wells Fargo does too, they need to be able to communicate with every single app. And that's the way it's going to go, in my opinion. It's going to be BRC100 stablecoins, application layer for business.
That's awesome, man. By far, everything that we do on these hackathons is around the Babage stack,
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah, that's great. And that's the other thing that I was hoping to talk to Roy about. He's building the Rust SDK. We need a Rust SDK. That's just the facts, right? No, I don't think that anyone's disputing that more stacks is a good thing, right? But he's got to be on the program of BRC100 and identity based, transactions and overlay systems. And that's not in his SDK build right now. So I'm going to need to talk to him about that, because that's what I need, right, to do what I want to do. And if he's already going that direction, he's got to be on that time, right? We don't want Money Button again. We don't want Money Button 2.0. That's why Ty built the Babbage stack, so that we don't have that.
What
But
was wrong with Money Button? What was the problem?
it was vendor lock-in. It you had to have Money Button, right? You couldn't. You either used Money Button or your app didn't work.
Right.
And then when Money Button shut down, all the apps failed. That's
Yeah, it
what
was
BRC 100 prevents.
Ah.
yeah,
I
it's having
really like the
open
sound of
source
that.
standards. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Right. And so that's the alignment that needs to happen. So, I salute you, Raf, for seeing that vision and, moving towards it with hackathons and events and backing Ty, and you as well, Casey, with, having Ty on and getting the message out, because BRC 100 is the most important thing in Bitcoin right now, period. It's more important than Teranode. If we don't have it, nothing works at scale. We don't have SPV. We don't have vendor neutral applications. We don't have any scale that's meaningful to get to customers. Teranode's useless if we can't give it transactions.
Good. I don't really know much about BRC 100, Mitch. I'm guilty.
Can I just ask a question real quick? Can you break down BRC 100 to the mind of somebody who wants to, say, create a new Twitch or a different Twitch or some kind of social media situation? Because I have an interest in that, and this is the first I've ever heard of BRC 100. So could you break that down to the mind of somebody who wants to create a social media situation?
So BRC 100 is kind of interesting, because the wallet, the only implementation we have right now is the MetaNet client. So it's kind of, early alpha, right? We're still on the beta release of MetaNet client, but everyone has to be using that BRC 100 standard wallet in order to interact with the application. The application is basically building transactions. The application is calling your wallet, and it's building the transactions. The wallet is just signing, right? The application does everything, but your keys are separate from the application, and you just sign the transaction. It sends to relevant overlays, or it stores specific SPV proofs to prove you have a token. So let's say you have an app, or let's say you have a post that you want to keep, that you want to tokenize, right? What you would do is the application would create a push drop token, right? You would sign it with your wallet. It would come up with a little pop up in the MetaNet desktop app, and you would confirm. then that token would either get propagated to an overlay network to be globally tracked, sold, or monetized, or it can be pushed to an internal basket that stores your particular UTXOs. Once you have those UTXOs stored in your basket, the application can always come back, plug into your MetaNet client, and retrieve your tokens, right? Your posts. It will always have them. And that, and I know that wasn't very low level. That was pretty high level. But you know, that's how you'd go about building it. You have to use MetaNet client. You have to use the new TypeScript SDK. Those are, or the Go SDK. They both work with MetaNet client, because it's both sides of the equation. BRC is both sides of the equation. It's wallet to application interface. So your application has to be written in the correct format with the new SDKs that were released, and it has to interact with a BRC100 standard wallet. So I recommend going through the Babage docs. I'm going through MetaNet Academy right now. It's really solid if you want to actually get into the code, and that's where most of my knowledge comes from. And you can start building very sophisticated apps very easily with that tech stack.
Can you DM me the link to that MetaNet Academy, please?
Yeah,
Or post it?
it's just metanetacademy.com.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much. I'll throw it in the nest.
Yeah, thanks.
This is awesome. We just have to talk more, guys. Like, this is so cool. Thank you so much for telling us about this binary. I want to learn more about it. Can you please put it up on the Jumbotron, please? MetaNet Academy. I'm a Bitcoiner that has been caught up in a stupid civil war with small-minded Bitcoiners that forked away, and there's so much about Bitcoin that I still want to learn binary. So please, thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. I picked, because when I came into this, I was like, maybe it's tokenized, maybe it's going to be, gate to chain. What am I going to use? As soon as I talked to Ty one time, I realized that no one was even fucking close to his level, not even remotely close. He is astronomically better at this than everyone else. Like, it's not even funny. Like, I know I'm not trying to glaze him. It's just true. He's like, he gets it from the highest possible level. The fact that he brought BRC100 to fruition and delivered the prototype plus the SDK to communicate with it is just so gigantic. I don't think there's very few people that understand how important that is, because it allows you to build everything. You can rebuild the entire internet. You can build in apps. You can build in Bitcoin to every application on the internet without having to worry about who controls the wallet. Anyone can use any wallet in any application, and just payments work. Tokenization works. Immutable data works. Baked in. And all we have to do is pick that direction and go there. Give people the best user interface. Give people the best features. Give people the best, validation schemes where they're not reading machine code to validate a protocol, right? That's where we got to go to. We have to go there. There's no other option. We've tried all the other options, and they're Web 2 options. This is the first Web 3 option ever. It's the first one.
It's the first Web3 option ever?
Really, it's the first option that puts Bitcoin as the real backend for these applications.
Does Web, maybe you have the same definition of Web3 that I do, and that my definition of Web3 is peer-to-peer digital transactions. Is that
correct?
Yes. Only really possible on Bitcoin BSV.
Correct. It's only Web3 only exists on BSV, and BSV only works with BRC100.
See, that's the whole reason I got into this space, is because of peer-to-peer. Because And that was what attracted me in the beginning. And I believe that's why I'm even here, because I know that, like Casey mentioned, that the connection between the peer to peer, it's not only spiritual, like they don't want us communicating directly, but they don't want us transacting in cash. And that's why Web3, seems like is now also totally been manipulated to thinking that everything else is Web3 that's not.
Well,
Yeah,
it's just a buzzword
Yeah.
that Silicon Valley has to grudgingly attach itself to, and they use the word Web3 now, even Web5, Web6, but they themselves know that the real Web3 is here. Craig Wright explained this in a talk he gave. I could show you guys the talk where he gives this. I'll put it on the jumbotron when I find it.
Dude, this is really important. You're explaining this, Mitch. Did you want to ask any other questions there, John? Feel free to stay up, man. I appreciate you being here. Good to see you again. And maybe, John, you would ask Mitch about the Babage stack. So, but dude, Mitch, you're really, yeah, go ahead, John.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm hearing things for the first time. I'm really glad that you put this whole space together because I've learned some serious information that
Well, I
that
know that, see, Mitch has gone through all of the Todd's training, and I know that Todd's not, I think that's who he trained under. Right, Mitch? Todd? Is that right?
yeah. I did all of Todd's stuff. I've done all of Ty's stuff. I've listened to every Craig Wright lecture. I mean, I've been breathing this for 2 years straight, and BRC100 is the fruition. Seriously, I can't stress it enough. It's like so critical to everything. If you want to build Bitcoin, you have to use it.
can you can you break down you mentioned the Babbage docs. I This is the first time hearing of Babbage docs as well. So could you maybe break down what that whole thing is?
Yeah, it's just the Project Babbage documentation for their packages. So they've extended the TypeScript SDK that. So I can give you a little history. So Babbage built the Babbage SDK, which was built in TypeScript, and it used the MetaNet client like 2 years ago. They built all this, and it wasn't really getting any traction. Eventually, the BSVA announced the Mandela upgrade and purchased all of Ty's IP. Um, now Ty, let them have the TypeScript SDK, which was formerly the Babbage SDK, and the MetaNet client. I mean, he didn't let them have it. He sold it to them and open sourced it so that we can use it, right? And they're the stewards of this. They're the new stewards of the network and of this protocol of the Mandela network. And the Mandela network only works on this stack because it's pure SPV. It's overlay integrated natively, and you have all of that functionality built into very simple tooling. So the Babbage documentation, walks you through how to use all of that, plus their extension packages like um, authenticated express middleware for uh, identity gated or payment gated API calls, or Gateway, which is a BRC100 version of Money Button. Um, and and so all of these different packages that they're building are available and documented for you to start playing around with. Everything they do is open source. So I mean, that's the way to go. If you're looking to build here, the biggest opportunity on the planet is BRC100 everything. Build a wallet, build applications, do everything you can to make that standard lock in, because if we start going a different direction, we're going to get lost in limbo again.
So, like, I remember with tokenized, right? I mean, I thought it was a really cool project, and it was a really a very, very strong, awesome opportunity. But then once I learned more about it, it sounds like what they were doing is they were going back to the Web 2 model, doing more of a centralized approach, which is probably all they knew at the time. And so is that the same thing that you found, Mitch? And then now we've evolved it from that? Is that where we're going?
Well, we haven't necessarily evolved. Tokenized, some token issuers are going to have to be centralized entities. They're going to have to track it. They're going to have to countersign. I mean, that's what money is. That is what money is. It's a tracked, countersigned token, right? If they want to implement on the new standard packages, it's basically the same as tokenized, but now anyone can utilize any wallet um, to integrate. So you're not going to get away from centralization because a real estate token, like a house deed, comes from a centralized entity. There's no way around that. Like you got to verify it. Someone's got to track it. Someone's got to sign it and be accountable. Um, someone's got to maintain, nar and dar functionality, right? You can manage that in overlays much easier than going to the main node networks, right? If you've got your own token system with permissions, that's how it'll work. So it's not necessarily that we're moving away from that model. It's just that if someone offers you a better signing experience, that's literally all this is it's a signing experience. Who can give you the best signing experience? Because the application and the signing are completely separate, and that's what's critical. The application just pings you to sign. You sign and it does the rest of the work.
Hmm.
So who's going to
Yeah,
deliver the best signing experience?
this is really exciting because I thought that we were going to have all these new applications like Twitch and things like that to emerge. But basically, what you're saying is that this can just be integrated into any current website and doesn't have to completely rewrite the whole internet. So that's fabulous. That was something I was like, this is going to take forever to build Web3, but that this changes the whole game. And I've
It's
never heard it
winner
like this. So
it's winner take all for who gives the best signing experience. Seriously, it's that simple.
cool.
Winner take
What was
all for
the
best signing experience.
education you
Uh,
went through with Todd? Can I just ask real quick? What
yeah.
is his link for his educational platform?
So I did Todd's stuff back when it was with BSVA, but
Okay.
as far as I can tell, he's moving on to his own platform and he's going to start um, running his own show. So I'm excited to see where that goes, and I'm willing to help him in any way I possibly can because obviously he accelerated my learning significantly.
Well,
And
and you're really good at explaining stuff. So thank you so much for joining us tonight because I've definitely had some breakthroughs in my mind. So
yeah, absolutely. I think I'm a good bridge because I still, compared to Ty and his team, like I'm barely scratching the surface. But it's articulating this is something that is lacking, right? Ty will say it himself. He's not the greatest marketer in the world, and we've got to articulate this stuff and give people not only the tools but the vision for where, why, and how.
Speaking on like the whole vision, I feel like, and correct me if I'm wrong, Gavin, could you break down like Web3 and maybe a high level but easy to understand like terms like as how do you log into it? You know what I mean? Like how do you log into it? Is there a browser? What like how does this work?
So Web3 is the inversion of I sign in to an application. In Web3, the application signs into me. So I have a secure digital identity that is provided by a wallet provider that gives me a signing experience in BRC100 standard applications or payment processors.
Perfect.
I am in control. I decide who gets my data. I own my data. I can tokenize and trade my data. All of that is accessible through Bitcoin and only Bitcoin at scale. And I don't need to run my own node because I've got Merkle proofs that come back and into my fully SPV wallet so that I can handle hundreds of millions of transactions. And that's what Web3 is going to be.
Hmm.
So, so, so basically, they log into you through your wallet, and whoever has the best wallet experience is going to win. Is what you're saying?
I mean, short term, yeah, they're going to
Okay.
win. Long term, you're going to have fierce competition because
Right.
that's the lever to pull, because now there's no vendor lock in. You can't lock your users in. And so you have to iterate to get the absolute best user experience. And what we're going to get is going to be so fantastic. We're going to have the internet is going to get an absolute full overhaul upgrade. It's going to be so much better in every way. And seriously, it starts with BRC100. Like, it's so awesome, and it's so misunderstood, and so it's a hard concept to understand. So I'm happy that I could, explain, and get rid of some of the mist, the fog.
I have one last question, if it's all right.
Yeah.
You said we get to own our own data, we control our own data. Is that because our wallet um, tracks our data and then that makes it ours? Like, how do we? I guess what I'm asking is, in Web3, how do I own my own data? Is it because my browsing is in my wallet, and if people want to know what my browsing history is, this, that, and the other, they have to buy it from me? Like, how do I own my own data?
Well, there's infinite ways to own your own data, because, and that's what Bitcoin is, right? The Satoshi is a digital commodity that you can attach any data to and have verifiable ownership over. So that is what Bitcoin is, right? So any UTXO can have any arbitrary amount of data that you can own and trade. And that's how you own it, right? So your signer, your wallet, the thing that allows you to transfer or verify or prove that you own, right? That's the thing that gives you the power over your data, because it's attached to Satoshis, and all a Satoshi is a chain of digital signatures.
Perfect. That that wakes up certain thought processes in my mind for sure. Thank you.
Hmm.
Yeah, Project Babbage it did what no other team in Bitcoin has done, which is to provide us the the unified stack that we all need to build on. Because so when BSV, when we were like liberated from the small-minded virus, every Bitcoiner kind of had their own idea, right? Everyone and their mama, like they say, had their own token protocol, for example. But having the standards that we have, thanks to Project Babbage, and the truth is that we owe Project Babbage a lot, because in a sense they really sacrificed themselves to provide this to us. So everything that I do revolves around in Bitcoin. Everything that I do in Bitcoin revolves around helping out Project Babbage. I don't work with them. I'm not affiliated with them. It's just I see it. You know what I'm saying? And in any effort that I have to help developers is to lead developers there. So I'm, and this is the beautiful thing about Bitcoin is that it's simple.
You're breaking up, Raph.
Oh, I was done speaking.
Oh, you were
Okay.
done?
Yeah.
Okay. I
Go ahead,
just wanted to
Casey.
ask Mitch, since you've been through the MetaNet Academy, it says it's 200 per user, $200 for an individual license. For someone like me that's not a developer, is that worth spending that kind of money to go through it? Or is that kind of like you have to be a developer to really understand the content of the courses?
So there's definitely non-developer courses, but the bang for your buck is with the coding help if you want to become a developer. Now, I recommend it for everyone, because with AI, everyone is a developer. Everyone. I'm not a developer. I dropped out of college because I failed my computer science 101 class, right? Like I can't code, but this this gives you the tools, this gives you the knowledge, and then you can leverage other tools like Windsurf or Cursor to develop your own stuff, and it's secure by default, right? You got to have certain best practices, but you're building on the most secure platform on the planet. You're building on the most cyber secure infrastructure ever. So you don't have to be a wizard. You just have to know which tools to use, which buttons to click, and how to prompt. The key, and I can, for anyone that's looking to develop today developers hardly need to write code. They have to write excellent pseudocode. If you can write excellent pseudocode and to-dos and understand what you need in the tool set that you're using, primarily the SDK, the TypeScript SDK, and you can give an AI agent you know that that framework, that skeleton, it will build it out perfect pretty much every time. I mean, that's the reality. That's where we're at now, and it's only going to get better, way better. So I recommend everyone go through this process because there's no downside. For $200, there's zero downside to having the most valuable skill on the planet, which is meta-net development. The most valuable skill on the planet. The only thing that's more valuable is being able to write like stack level Bitcoin script. And
Well, Mitch,
you know,
are you? So they were saying, I was reading here recently that the Facebook, and this is off. I don't know if this is public, but they had off the record offers to AI developers, and these are like there. I guess there's a handful of them in the world, maybe like 20 of them that know how to use the AI and write all this code apparently properly. And they were putting offers like at $1 billion for a job. Come work for us. We'll pay you $1 billion. So I don't know, like what
that's
you're.
real.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, I don't think they're anywhere near super intelligence. Uh, just from my own personal designs, I don't think they're close. But the reality, like, it's better than 99% of coders right now if you know how to prompt it, if you know how to give it a skeleton, right? It'll put flesh on the bones every time, and it'll only get better. And the guys that know how to prompt it, the people that understand the basic tool set that they need to use, which we all have, open source, ready to go on the most powerful platform on the planet, like, there's no downside to learning that. Zero. Only upside. Even if it takes you 6 months and you don't feel like you're that competent, you can still speak the language, right? At least. And
So
I've gotten a lot of value just from that.
right. So
So on the jumbotron, I posted the BSV MCP, which is the model context protocol that
Yep.
allows the AI assistants to use Bitcoin SV functionalities. So
Yep.
there you go.
I use it every day.
Do you have a recommendation on like any particular AI?
Windsurf, and they're giving out free GPT-5 credits, so you can spam GPT-5. I don't. I mean, like I said, I'm not that impressed with the models overall because I know what they're actually going to be capable of. But it's like right now for coding, little applications, testing stuff out, building in this beta phase that we're in, and building the skills. You're gonna be in such a great position after that. The world will be your oyster, especially if someone comes along and gives people a better signing experience, right? Like that's all that it takes. You understand? If you learn this stuff and someone, wink wink, comes along and gives you a better signing experience, gives everyone the just got opened up to everyone on the planet immediately. It's no longer just BSV folks, right? You're not
Absolutely.
constrained and you can scale. And here's the other thing. Everyone's talking about scale, right? But the point is that it scales up and it scales down. The business level infrastructure. You can run like tool.sv or whatever it is. Yeah, toolsv.com or something. The one that John Calhoun built. He's got zero operating fees as a business. Zero. He passes everything through, right? That's how it's designed. You can scale it up or down instantly, immediately, automatically. It does it for cheap. And you can pass everything through to the user. That's how you solve employment, right? Give people the tools to go build stuff that scales up or down so that you can harvest the minuscule amounts of profit that are available on chain, like Raf was saying, right? That's how you do it. It's not about a billion transactions per second. It's about how many I can get. And if I can scale that cheaply and easily, then, I can operate an enterprise or a small business and I don't have to worry about the infrastructure re-architecture and building out the new developers and hiring teams and doing all this stuff, right? You can just go from small business to medium to large to enterprise. And you don't have to rebuild your app. And that's the best. No one's talking about that.
Unbelievable.
So we don't have to rebuild the app. We don't need to have money button anymore, and we don't need to go that route you're saying. And it sounds like the real opportunity is learning how to do this, Mitch. And you're saying with using Chat GBT, you can actually make this happen if you go through these courses.
Yeah, use Windsurf or Cursor, which is it's an IDE that has AI models integrated. I like Windsurf a lot. Uh, and just start messing around with stuff. Use examples, download MetaNet client, and just see what you can build. Like I'm not doing anything crazy here. I'm building little validation applications that prove that I signed a message and learning the basics, right? Because once you understand the basics and what Bitcoin does natively and does well, does scalably, then you can start thinking about the use cases. Then you can start thinking about how to take this from small business to enterprise and building something that's going to last forever. And that's not going to happen. I mean, that's going to happen, it's not going to be a DAO, it's going to be a corporation. You're going to build a corporation and it's going to scale immediately. And you're not going to have to waste money on re-architecting the databases because it just scales. And you're not going to have to waste money paying Stripe as a small business because you got instant transactions for a fraction of a penny. We're there. We're moving there. That's all anyone should care about if you're in BSV, going that direction.
So by learning the basics, which I'm with you on that, dude. I think that's key, dude. I want to learn just the basic. I don't want to be at highs level. I don't even want to think about that. It makes my brain hurt. So, but there's a way that people like me could learn the basics just so we can be better entrepreneurs. That, Mitch, now you're getting my attention. Like, how the hell do we do that?
I mean, use MetaNet Academy. It's cheap. I mean, he's not even making any money on it. He's probably barely breaking even on it, right? Like he's giving this stuff away to everyone because he knows what I mean, obviously he knows what I know. I'm just following his lead. It's like he knows what's going to happen. It's an inevitability. He built the rails to for MetaNet. It's legitimately MetaNet. It's not it's not centralized platforms that are incompatible. It's Bitcoin running everything all the time.
So
So
what?
can
Oh, go
I?
ahead. Go ahead.
I'm sorry, you can go ahead. I can wait.
I just wanted to just kind of to sum this up, this AI thing real quick, with a question. So what you're saying is go to MetaNet, learn the basics so that you can know how to pseudo code a skeleton to have AI write the application or the thing that you're trying to create. Is that what I'm getting here?
That'll get you most of the way there. Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah, there's enough developers in this space, I'm sure, that'll take it from there once you get it to that point and help out. But Mitch, can I ask then what your perspective is on Teranode and Galaxy, and what can you clarify the difference? I mean, I know the difference you're saying, but like what is so profound about what Roy is building or what Teranode is building that is also part of the whole game at play here?
I mean, to be honest with you, I don't really care either way. I that's not where the money's being made, is what I'm telling you. That you don't want to play that game. There's no reason to play that game. That game is being played by other guys, and the game that we can play is astronomically bigger. Right? We get a piece of every transaction that runs through MetaNet, right? Before it gets to the race to the bottom, which is the central nodes, right? We're going to have competition, but it's not nearly as cutthroat as what they've got. And frankly, if Galaxy works, great. I hope it's super fast and I hope it's super reliable because I want to send it 100 billion transactions a day, right? That's
Mm-hmm.
what I want to do. If it's Teranode, it's Teranode. But that's, like I said, like we don't need to concern ourselves with that level because the reality is none of us are going to be mining. If you are, then sure, go concern yourself. But all I know is that Teranode's going to work and Galaxy might. And if they both work, that's great. We're going to have competition in the node pool that's even deeper now, meaning our
Mm-hmm.
fees get lower, meaning our latency gets shorter, our everything works better. And I'd love to use Rust to integrate into everything because it's faster.
Mm-hmm.
um, and I hope that a full Rust SDK gets built out. If I have to build it, then I will. But hopefully Roy gets on Ty's wavelength, and
Mm-hmm.
they start working that way. But you know
Does Roy know about Babbage and what they're doing?
I'm sure he does. I'm sure he does.
Yeah, I'm sure.
It's just a difference in philosophy, but it's not something that's going to be totally foreign to Roy. He just needs to, and he's probably moving that direction anyway. If he's got a template that existed with the Rust SDK, that's old, so he's working off an old model. But he could refactor the Go SDK probably pretty quick if he's as talented as he leads on, and I'm sure he is. I hope he is because I need it bad. I want it. Um, I'd rather not have to build it, but if I have to, I have to. That's how everything is. It's like Roy didn't want to really build Galaxy. He wished that Teranode would have been written in Rust and it would have been out already. So he just had to go build it. But he doesn't want to play that game either. He's going to give it to the miners. He's going to give it to the miners and say, do what you can. We don't need to play that game. That's a game that's, if Bitcoin's digital oil, Rockefeller has been around for a long time. Okay, like I want to go build a Ferrari.
You're saying the big giant, whales are already, the big guys are already doing that. So we're not going to be able to compete with that, but we can learn the basics and
Go
capital.
build. Yes, we don't. You don't need to extract the oil, guys. We don't need to even worry about that. The refineries are built. Go build an engine. Go build a fucking V12.
Go
Like
ahead. Yeah.
yeah, like I don't want to. I don't want to go work on an oil rig. Do you?
Hell no.
Yeah, I want to go drive a Ferrari.
Yeah,
I
dude, I
want
want
to
to
I
drive
want to
fast.
I want to engineer a Ferrari and then drive it down the track. That's what we're doing. I'm not on the oil rig. I don't care what the derricks are doing. That's what mining is. I'm out of that game. Go build the engines that burn it.
Hmm.
Very cool. Very, very cool.
Dude, yeah.
Yeah, you took my head to a completely different place tonight. I'm so glad you came on, Mitch. Very nice to meet you.
Oh, you
Yeah,
don't know
nice to meet you
Mitch?
as well.
Wow. Well, I mean, you guys seen the shows. If you haven't already watched a bunch of shows I did with Mitch, dude, some freaking next level stuff we talked about many times. I mean,
No, I haven't seen any of them. I'll have to check
what?
those out. I
You didn't see
haven't.
the shows I did with Mitch?
No, this is the first I've ever heard of him or heard him
What?
speak. So I missed him somehow. You put
Dude,
out a lot of
we
content, my
had
dear.
we had some badass shows about the MetaNet and then the Meta. What was the other one, Mitch? The Metawatt, of course, but the
Yep, metawatt.
Mandela network.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, going through the
I'll have to
Mandela
go
network.
look for those. It definitely would be worth listening to if you're this good at articulating the next
So,
steps to
are you
really take.
have you decided? Are I who was it? Liz, not Liz, but what's her name? That you know, Mitch reached out to me about London. Liz, not Liz, but oh shoot.
L.
Oh yeah, she reached out
Yeah.
to me. Are you planning on going?
I'll be in London,
Oh,
but I've got a lot on my plate. Obviously, we're trying to get paid still, which I'm trying to help Ishan as much as I can. That's why I'm taking MetaNet Academy, because I wasn't up to snuff on the coding, and obviously he's brand new to blockchain, and this is a whole new stack. So, you know, plus that app is pretty complicated, and to be honest, but it's coming along, and we want to have that ready by London blockchain, and give a presentation on it, because that's how you build. That's the first step uh, in the site, right? You got to pay developers to build this stuff. So, we're still working on that. I've got Metawatt moving in the background. I'm building a prototype of that as well. That's coming along very well. We're going to have some interesting stuff to show here pretty soon. And then, of course, I've got a lot of things in the oven, and just waiting on the right time to pull them out.
So is this Mitch from the hackathon?
Yes.
What's up, man? I was like, Mitch? Is this the Mitch? All right. So Metawatt. Okay, now I know who you are, Mister. Good to hear from you again.
Yeah. Good to see you, bro.
Yeah, awesome, awesome, awesome. So cool, dude. Yeah, and I did see some of your interviews with Gavin. So those were awesome. I just now know who I'm talking to. Great, great,
you just
great.
connected the dots, huh? You just
I just
connected.
connected the dots. Yes, yes, yes. Yeah. Yeah, we're blessed. So tell us about Metawatt. How's that going?
Slow and steady's gonna win the race, but it's I've got tremendous opportunity, with the rise of AI data centers and the need for power and the need for distributed power. So we've got a lot of exciting stuff in the pipeline here. So we've got V1, that's about to be ready. And the reality is that everything hinges on providing, like I said, the best signing experience. So you got to understand, like, thinking from an enterprise level, I can go build Metawatt, but no one gives a shit if I've got the next best thing, because they don't speak Bitcoin. They don't speak it. Business doesn't speak Bitcoin. And I mean that in the sense that they can't go buy a computer with Bitcoin. They can't get an invoice and send Bitcoin, right? It doesn't exist. Not happening. So what are we going to do? Right? Bitcoin has this amazing functionality, and we can build stuff on it, that's way better, right? The metawatt structure is going to end up being the most resilient grid infrastructure on the planet. Any company or state, municipality, country that adopts it is going to have a gigantic national security advantage, but they don't speak the language. And so we have to translate, and it starts in the wallet interface because that's how they interact. And then you can start building out the more interesting stuff, the IoT networks, the automated peer-to-peer electricity exchanges, the electric vehicle to grid systems, electric vehicle to electric grid vehicle, or electric vehicle systems, the you know virtual power plants and aggregations, 10,000 batteries coordinating and communicating and dispatching energy, or coordinating with 15,000 smart thermostats that all move to the market. And that's what metawatt is going to enable. But like I said, you got to translate it to the language that the people speak, and it's not Bitcoin right now. It will be. We all know that. We're going to make it be the language. It will be the language. And that's why it's such a gigantic national security advantage. Think what the problem is right now is that we've got, in America specifically, I'll talk about America, but this goes for everywhere. You've got a bunch of different grids that all speak different languages. None of them are coordinated, but they're all in the same phase. So if one side goes down and you can't communicate and the phase starts dropping, you get a cascading failure across the entire grid and everyone's system is out. But if everyone speaks the same language, i.e., Bitcoin transactions, then you can split phase over everything and it never matters because individual nodes know how to speak the language of the individual nodes. They can get rolled up into overlay networks. Those overlay networks are in overlay networks, in overlay networks, in overlay networks. And that's how you build hyper resilient physical infrastructure, which is the foundation of a decentralized society. That's how you rebuild the republic. It's not top down, it's bottom up. And that's what Bitcoin enables. We just have to translate.
So binary, did you read Craig Satoshi Wright's explanation on how to reach 1 billion transactions with multicast, within multicast and anycast?
I
Actually,
did, yeah.
yeah, Ralph, if you want to read that, I was going to ask Casey to read it, but I've got an audio problem right now on YouTube, so I'm not going to do it. If you want to read that, I would love to have you do it, man, because I think it's super important.
The whole thing?
Well, I don't
It's
know.
kind of long.
It's pretty dense, man.
Okay.
Yeah, on the 18th, he put out a write-up, which was kind of a precursor to the big one he put out on the 20th, 2 days later. It's just binary. It's almost like okay, I'll tell you my experience. In my mind's eye, I had an idea of how we were gonna do a billion transactions per second. Like I could visualize it, but Craig Satoshi Wright was able to crystallize it and give us the exact formation by which and how the process will occur every second to process billions of transactions. So as someone who's working with technology where 1 Satoshi equals 1 watts of energy, I want to know what's on your mind. Like, what's going on here, dude? This is what's up? What's going on?
Okay, you're gonna have scaled with roll-ups. We can probably do the same thing, but what he's describing is subtrees. It's subtree propagation. Everything is about subtrees, right? You have to hash all of these transactions together. So you need subtrees that are coming together to build bigger Merkle trees so that you have the path. And what they were describing is just how that works on IPv6. which is a bitch to implement, by the way. IPv6, I mean, I've worked in, commercial building automation at Lockheed Martin, and like no one uses it because it's too complicated. Like no one's using IPv6. From top down, no one is. The people with the best engineers don't use it because it's fucking complicated. So when we need it, we will start to multicast subtrees. And he gave a very specific, which I didn't really understand. That's like super low level stuff. Um, but a specific structure for those subtree propagations that, can go any cast. So if you miss it, it can just be propagated to the guy that missed it. But then you've got multicast of subtrees. And within that, you can have multicast of, like, think about Bitcoin and Bitcoin and Bitcoin and Bitcoin and Bitcoin. Like, overlay networks can be running preliminary proof of work on subtrees, so that you can never have a double spend on, proprietary tokens, stable coins. You have Bitcoin is Turing complete. It can run in itself. Bitcoin in Bitcoin in Bitcoin. Those are what the overlay networks could evolve to if the double spend protection is needed, and it probably will be, especially in stablecoin networks, probably in overlay networks, like metawatt, uh, s- because hash power is a useful resource, on the grid. So you don't want to cut off, a gigawatt of hash power at the same time. That'll take the grid down. It almost did in Texas. So if you have, sub networks or microgrids with, hash power that are doing, sub hashing, subtree propagation, you can get to, dude, hundreds of billions of transactions per second. Like, it's not even, everything will run on Bitcoin, everything. And that's what I'm trying to get through to everyone, is that it's, it's an inevitability. There's zero chance that this doesn't eat the entire planet. There's no other option. And I'm telling you that BRC100 is the stake in the ground that moves it forward, so that the users can use it. Otherwise, it's going to be, leveraged in the back end. And people have had success, like Mint Blue has success, but we need to get to everyone in every industry on every idea, every single thing. We all know that that's going to happen eventually, but how do you actualize it? Well, I mean, that's the fun part.
Do we know if Mint Blue is adopting the Babage stack?
They're not. They may go BRC100. I wouldn't be surprised if they implemented all that, but they've got their own SDK, and they've got customers that know it and use it, and that's great. That's the thing. We're just trying to get customers. Like, what's the use of a million transactions, a billion transactions a second, if we have zero transactions going through? Like, no one's using it, and that's the problem. So, if Mint Blue adopts it or doesn't adopt it, but I'm just saying that from our perspective, the people in here, the people that want to move this thing forward, we have to implement these standardizations. They're in Denmark. They're working with, Mint Blue is. They're working with, governments. They've got a solid business. They've been around, and steady for probably the longest of anyone in the space, other than, the big boys. But, they'll ideally move over to BRC100 and implement a great wallet interface, and then they can go everywhere, right? Everyone can use it. We'll see.
You remember back in the day when we used to have block parties in our neighborhoods and like all the families would come out and bring out their food and everybody would hang out?
Hmm.
We need to bring back block parties and just do them online and get all these developers and all these people just working together and actually doing this interoperability stuff. It seems like everybody's still doing their own thing and not a lot of people are bringing that coherence together to really move this stuff massively forward. So that's just my thought there on just like getting people talking more
Yeah.
in groups like this. So
This has been good. I think this has probably been the longest discourse on BRC 100 ever. I bet you.
yeah, I've definitely heard of it before, but I never heard it at this from this level, from how you explained it. So like I said, it changed my entire worldview of Bitcoin, to be honest. And you know, I love Ty. He can speak so high level sometimes it is hard to digest and like take actionable items out of what he said for people that are not developers. So you kind of really changed the flow in my mind for all that moving forward. So keep making content, man. Keep building. I'm excited to watch some of these videos that I put in the nest of you and Gavin's that I missed somehow. So
Yeah, hopefully I'll have more time to do content soon enough, but till then, head down. Um, that's that's how, I content's great, but the reality is like no one understands Bitcoin still. There's still a $3 trillion bubble called Bitcoin that no one understands. So it's like the education bit isn't working. Let's get to work on, getting adoption some other way and actually building businesses. Education's great, but no one's listening, and that's been, proven. We have the resources. So I'll start, doing more content, and I've been posting on X a little bit more. I just came back. I took an X sabbatical, to dial it in. But it's time to lock in. We got to lock in, guys, and move in the right direction. So I hope that I'm glad I could articulate the direction I'm going in. I think it's the right one, and we all of us together. I mean, that's how you start. That's how you really get some momentum. Everyone going in the right direction.
Right on.
Absolutely.
Completely agree. Binary, you also have to take into account that there's been a very strong effort to miseducate
Oh yeah, I'm
and
not
to
discounting
confuse.
that at all. But we have it, regardless of the miseducation, we can go to market if it's actually better. We haven't given anyone anything that's actually better yet. Otherwise, it would have been adopted. Mint Blue did. It was better, and they've got real customers. No one else does. Like no one else does. Um,
That's true, and I think a lot of it has to do because of the fact that we had so much diversity of thoughts per se, where it's in reality we didn't have the standards that we now have with Babbage, and I think that I mean the Mint Blue guys are they're beasts, man. They're incredible,
mhm.
and I would run into them like at Cambrian, and they were locked in, and they're still very locked in into what other Bitcoiners are doing. But it seems to me like they just weren't. I see a lot of these teams in, let's say, the first era of BSV, they just wanted to get to market, and it was really Babbage who took the time to say, hey, you know what, we're gonna take it upon ourselves to standardize everything. So I feel like this is a second wave of innovation in BSV swelling up, and what you're saying is of utmost importance to rally around these standards, and like that I think everything will be a lot more successful moving forward because we'd be leveraging off each other's success. So
Yeah, exactly. We're going to be able to scale this thing faster than anyone thought possible. Now that we can integrate into everything first try. So, the world is our oyster. You literally just as creative as you can possibly get. Yeah, and the best part is we don't have to go build NetSuite. We just plug in and it works for everyone, regardless of who the wallet provider they want to use. We don't have to go build HubSpot. We don't have to go build YouTube. You know what I mean? It's like everything is there for the taking. Everything. Plus the new innovations that couldn't exist otherwise. And that's where the real fun's going to happen, right? Like metawatt couldn't exist otherwise. There's nothing like it. There's lock to mint, right? Which I'm a big fan of. I I want to see someone build, on the Babage stack from Tempo, right? Babage put out a music streaming stack, and I want to see someone do lock to mint with revenue share on how long you locked. You want a business idea? Take that one. Go do it. Be love and be you. Do that one. I need you. Do it. I want to see lock to mint revenue share on how long you locked. The artists get immutable signal from the lock. You've got a meta playlist that gives you passive income forever. Like that's the kind of stuff that those are the apps that are really going to take the world by storm, the stuff that could have never existed, right? And that's how you can bootstrap community uh, within BSV. And then of course you've got enterprise solutions that can go out and do the bigger stuff. But that's where my focus is, but I'm happy to give, any ideas. Like that tempo thing would be dope. I've been thinking about meta playlists forever, and I've always wanted one where I can bet on a song, and if it takes off, I win too. And I mean that'd be huge. So yeah, I want to see someone build that, and we can just keep iterating. So many opportunities.
Be love and be you. Welcome to the stage. You're welcome to chime in.
Hey, thanks, Casey. Hey, everybody. It's great to see y'all. Y'all my favorite people, and it's been a while.
Yeah, good to see you, man.
Yeah, Mitch. It's Gavin connected us a while back, and it's been too long, man. But you've been doing great work, and you're blowing minds in the space, and I love to see it. Um, yeah, it's a big topic we've covered here. I've got a few updates I could bring to the table that would be relevant. But first, I give a shout out to Raphael because I literally just rolled up from Colombia today, epic flight. But I thought for sure he was going to be the one to guide me through his beautiful country for the first time. But we actually ended up seeing Kylie Minogue, my wife and I. She's an Australian pop star. I think two of the most influential people to come out of Australia is probably Kylie Minogue and Satoshi. So pretty surreal, but yeah, I'm pretty shaken up from the flight. But yeah, man, it's a wild time that we're in right now. The cognitive dissonance and the confusion, it just in this industry and obviously in the world. But I mean, BTC sitting at 2 trillion plus market cap, currently in a downtrend. Stock market's pushing all-time highs, the everything bubble on the brink of collapse. Is the Fed going to raise rates next month? And yet here's BSV just like staggering, sub $30 a coin. So it just, I monitor all of these charts and these technicals and the fundamentals carefully because I think in all of what everyone has discussed in this space, the timing is like really the most important thing. Um, and Mint Blue, the way they just wanted to get to market quickly, I respect that, and I think there's a lot to learn from that, really. But certain things that we're all trying to build individually and collectively, the timing is crucial. So so yeah, in terms of timing, like my snapshot is, I think that we're gonna have a pretty rocky August into September for all of the markets. Might even see a $20 BSV sub $20 if prices don't hold where they're at. And the unfortunate reality, or a blessing, depending on how you look at it, the price is the thing that's gonna garner attention more than anything else. I mean, BTC is living proof of that, aside from all the propaganda that's been going on. so yeah, timing, price action. What are we trying to build, and how do we get it done? I thought it was very insightful, Mitch, when you were sharing the AI tricks that can really simplify the process for someone that is less tech savvy, which is kind of where I struggle, and I think that's why Casey kind of pinged me to speak when she did, because I've been sitting on a whole discography of new age rock songs. That's my passion, is music, is writing music in 432 hertz, sharing as much experiential, lived experience and wisdom through the lyrics, but also bringing music that moves people to an emotional state where they have to move that energy. And the last single I put out, was for Bitcoin. It's in the artwork. It's a bit of a costly signal if you've checked it out. I know Gavin has premiered it a few times on a couple shows we've done. And yeah, I mean, lock to mint or whatever can be done with that is all of what I'm working on behind the scenes, and in the timing of bringing that to market, how to do it correctly, um, you know, and I'm a bit of a broken record, but aside from that, that's my passion. But my purpose is to ultimately bring all of this technology that is world changing, um, you know, into the context of where we're at as a species, and in time and space as we think we know it. And my deduction is that we're in the age of Aquarius, and it's an air age, it's a technological age, and that's why we're seeing these technologies rapidly change the world and how we move within it. So that is the mission. I feel like that is a mission as a species, is to somehow, with this technology, bring everyone to that common knowing that, like, whoa, like, I'm alive through this time, and this is kind of why all of this is happening and unfolding like this. And I think that offers like it could offer a deeper level of clarity for, like, who am I, and what is my role within this? If Bitcoin's the company, and we all work for Bitcoin, and that is the mechanism to bring us all together, regardless of differences, then what is my role, and how do I crystallize that, and make it happen, and when is the right time to launch it? So that's all of what's going on, and I have to give let me see, yeah, I have to give another shout out. Two of my favorite people are also in here, Alex.Sats. You all know who Alex is, but also I I hope he doesn't hate me for bringing him up, but there's another Alex in here, Colacube, who's been actively studying BSV. Just like Raphael was the person that really opened my eyes to all of this. I mean, truly, like, he's the guy. Like, I can't even. There's no second best, right? Like, Raphael brought me out to Cambrian SV with Jack Liu. It was the last one in Costa Rica, and I was there with the Mint Blue guys. We were there with Xiaowei Liu. This was before I, really discovered Tai and Babage and all the work that they've been doing. And that was, Alex was there too, Alex.Sats. That was when everything changed for me. It's been a long 3 years of understanding everything that's going on and what Bitcoin actually is and what it's supposed to do. So shout out to Raphael, shout out to Alex. Alex Colacube actually built ageofaquarius.org. You guys can check that out now. The site's been live, the information's there. There's a 66-page guidebook, all about it to the best of my knowledge. But the reality is like, I do feel this is a collective mission for our species to, like, kind of define what this time period is in this age. And, being that Bitcoin is a global truth ledger, that's a good place to do it. So that's not just my mission. I think it's my purpose to just drive that forward and put together the pieces to the puzzle, and the players that resonate with that mission. Alex is one of those people. Raphael, I mean, all of you guys really have been incredibly supportive. So, thanks for sharing your ideas. Thanks for showing up. I know I've said a lot. I've kind of ranted a bit, but it's been a while since I spoke up. the times, the markets, everything's kind of getting me down, in addition to, just closing on my first home and, doing all the handyman work and being busy with that. But that's all of what's going on. And I think, I guess the last thing I could say is that, in all of my analysis, like, we really are at the tipping point of the everything bubble here. And so timing is so key. Like, I'm really incredibly bullish on the end of this year into Q1 of next year. Not just for like Yeezy coin or Trump coin or whatever the heck is going on, or BTC, but I really do think that this is a golden opportunity to continue learning, continue building out your roadmap and vision, and networking and sharing ideas, but ultimately, like, position yourself to capture the end of the bubble before it pops. You don't have to sell the very top, but, like, do what you can to, acquire the resources and, that you need to, so that when this next bear market comes, which is not going to be just any bear market. I mean, we could be looking at the S&P in a decade long sideways consolidation, which is usually what happens, at these apex points in time. So that is going to be an incredible time to really put your head down and build, and have the resources to allocate towards your vision, which ultimately is going to contribute to hyper Bitcoinization. So that's my 2 cents. It's a tough time, but it's a good time. And yeah, stoked to be here. Thanks for having me up, Casey. And Gavin, you're the host.
Thank you, Matt. Great to hear from you.
Yeah, brother. It's been a while since we've done an interview too. I've been holding out on reaching out. I don't know, for some reason. You're just doing so much great work, sharing so much info. I just feel like what could I say that we haven't talked about already,
Yeah, well, your perspective is much appreciated and valued. With the charts here at the kind of the end of the show. This is really great, man, to have this perspective. So it's super. Yeah. People love to hear that. It's hard for me to really talk about it because I don't understand it, and you do. So thank you.
Yeah. And thank you for making music medicine again, because they have definitely weaponized our music industry, and I love you for that.
Oh yeah, thanks for acknowledging it. It's been brutal. I don't even have to share. I mean, you guys get it. Music, and kind of to Mitch's point, where right when I started chiming in, like, I do think music is the thing that can and might be the needle, well, not the needle in the haystack, but the string to bring the camel's back for hyper Bitcoinization. I mean, when I was 15, I went to my first concert ever in New Jersey. It was a punk rock show with an Irish punk rock band called Flogging Molly. And my life was never the same after that. I mean, when I saw that club with like 500 people, jam-packed, you couldn't even breathe, fist in the air, hanging on every word, and every word meant something. And everyone was there for a collective, like, vibe of just unity, even if they didn't know what it was about, you felt the energy. And that's what I feel in this space with this group of people, always. And so if we can bring that with a music, a collection of music and artists that can bring that message to the world stage, cut through the noise, and bring that healing energy back, but ultimately make some serious money in the process. Like, I think that is going to be the thing, or could be the thing, that really puts everybody's projects on the map, is when people start seeing, like, holy crap, like, this artist here just made $1 million, like, with this artwork and this song, like, in 30 days.
Dude.
And like, they don't even know that it's BSV that did all the instant transactions, and the signing was, flawless and an enjoyable experience. And now, that artist is earning royalties without a middleman, without, record labels and licensing agencies and handlers and all this weird stuff that comes with Helly Weird. I think that's going to be like, people are going to be like, whoa, man, what the heck is going on? Like, I need to do that too, So anyway, yes, thanks for acknowledging that, because, my music is, I write it for myself, kind of first and foremost. It's been the thing that has picked me up every time I fall down. I just blast that shit as loud as I can in the car, in the studio.
Oh, yeah.
It's
Well, can you play a song for us? Maybe
oh
the
man.
Bitcoin song you wrote?
Um,
Come on, debut, baby. Let's go.
well, I'm pretty toasted, man. The flight got real jammed up today coming from Colombia, but maybe Alex.Sats. I feel like he's the one in this space that has dialed in the technology to be able to
Yeah.
actually play a song.
He knows
where
how
you
to
can
do it.
hear-
Like I cannot figure it out either, Matt. Don't you're not the only one. I cannot
Oh
figure
yeah.
how to work the tech on that. Alex
Oh,
is the man. And I was gonna say, like, dude, how important Alex is, dude. He's so he's so important, dude. He's the man, dude.
he is. You should
Yeah,
see
Alex
his.
is a little too humble, though. We need
Yeah.
a. Yeah.
Right. Well,
Yo, y'all didn't just invite me up to sing because ever since Matt came up on the stage, I've had this song in my head. So this is the dawning of the age
Age
of
of
Aquarius,
Aquarius.
age of Aquarius,
Yeah, it's
Aquarius. Let's fucking go.
let's go. Some
Anyway,
40-year-old
what's
virgin
up, guys?
vibes right there.
40-year-old rapper vibes.
Oh snap! Yeah, man. No, I mean you could jam the song, but that song 33, I put it out when I was 33 years old, and I shit you not, like I woke up in Austin, Texas. I was speaking about BSV and performing at the Solar Punk Summit with Leandra Dixon. Shout out to L Dixon. Like he was at Cambrian SV, like discovering BSV with us, like crazy, right? But he's not here now. That's like how powerful this dude is. He's like somewhere else in the universe, like making magic happen.
Yeah,
Uh,
he does like AI and like crazy concerts and stuff. But
yeah,
he's a BSV dude. He was with us at Cambridge. He's awesome.
right. Okay, just to complete the story, because I don't want to run on too long. But like, I woke up in his apartment, and uh, on my 33rd birthday, and I check Coin Gecko, right, or Coin Market Cap, whatever, right, and the price of BSV was $33.33. And that's the day the song came out with the music video. And like I went to Leandro, I was like, dude, this is crazy. And then like just like a week before that, I posted, I'm like, hey, if the price of BSV is $33 on my 33rd birthday, when this song 33 comes out, that's in 432 hertz, that is for Bitcoin, it's the real Bitcoin. Back up the truck. I don't know. That's just me and my trading, charting, like passion.
Dude, you're reading the writing on the wall. That's spirit talking to you, saying you're going in the
Yes.
right direction.
Yeah, man. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That's how I felt. I still feel that way. Man, I love Bitcoin. I love you guys. Like, I mean, you're my people, and the deeper I go into this, like the more isolated I feel, in a sense, and that's just a call to action for us to really, take our gifts and marry it with the tech and bring this to the world, so we're not so isolated. We can build our tribe.
Hey, Raf, do you want to take us out so we can maybe I can close this down? You got some words of wisdom. It seems like Matt is really giving you the credit for getting him here, and I feel I owe you the same credit as well. I've learned so much from you, and I'm sure a lot of other people feel the same way. So maybe you could take us out and say some good words, and then we'll close it down.
So wait, we're not going to hear the song before.
Unless Alex, I mean, I don't know.
No.
Come on, Alex.
I don't know.
Sorry,
how to play stuff,
guys.
but-
I joined from my
Here we
phone.
go.
I don't have it queued up. There you go.
I got it on my phone, on my computer, guys.
No. No, it doesn't. It doesn't come through. So
Yeah, it always cuts in and out.
It's not working?
It's a certain. You have to have the Alex.Sats vibe to make something like that
Ah.
work. So
Okay.
Come on, Alex.
Alex, you got to teach
he's
me.
the only one I've seen.
I'll teach you,
You'll teach
Casey.
us.
It would take a few minutes for doing it now, but I think
Sure.
Rap's probably got his little bag of proverbs that he can close us with for the meantime. But no, this was a great space to listen to. I've been walking. I just got my treadmill today. It's like a walking pad. It was like $100 on Amazon, so I got like 5,000 steps in during this space.
Nice.
So yeah, shout out. This was like literally my first day. Like I'm like, yo, the only way I'm gonna like lose the weight I need to is if I just like get my steps in while I'm like
Dude,
listening to Twitter,
getting the
all you
steps in
guys
will
like
get you
on your
the
Twitter
six-pack
spaces.
abs, bro. You're good
Yeah.
already.
I'm still waiting for my six pack abs from following Gavin, but but no, you guys hosted a great space. Another one for the books. For those of you who are listening on the replay, try to catch live next time so that you can come up on and interact and be a part of it. But yeah, shout out to Casey and Gavin for hosting, and all my friends who showed up, and thank you guys for the insight and the inspiration. I love this, Gavin. Shout out to you. I'll just say this. I did hear from Zach again the other day. It's our good friend Zach is making progress. I feel like you guys are kind of filling the gap that Zach and I kind of left with. We were hosting spaces pretty regularly a while back, and so thank you guys for hosting the space, and let's keep doing push-ups for Zach, keep getting healthy for ourselves, for the future, right? Our children. We gotta we gotta keep pushing this progress forward. So Binary, holy crap, this guy, I didn't know about him either, but I followed Binary tonight. So shout out to Binary too, and all the builders out there. Alex, Call a Cube, who works with Matt, followed you. And thanks again, everybody who listened, and let's just keep pushing Bitcoin forward. And shout out to Raph because just like Matt, he got me bit by the Bitcoin bug too. So love you, Raph.
Love you guys too, but like credit is where it's due. I was blessed to be the neighbor of the Emperor of Bitcoin, and I discovered Bitcoin alongside the Emperor of Bitcoin, Daniel Krawietz himself. So I've nothing but gratitude to God, to life, to everything that he put Daniel Krawietz, the Emperor of Bitcoin, in my life. And I have homework for all the Bitcoiners listening to this. The moment you're done listening to this space, the most important thing for you to do is to watch this episode of Bitcoin stuff from Daniel Krawietz called Homo Bitcoinus. You need to listen to it. You need to watch it now. As soon as the space ends, it's on the Jumbotron. Make sure you watch it now, okay? So get it loaded on your YouTube. Sit back, relax, and listen to the Emperor of Bitcoin talk about what really is happening as we live in the fullness of Bitcoin. Thank you, guys.
All right. Thank you, everybody. All right, that's it. I'm gonna wrap. Bye, Casey. Thank you, Mitch, for joining in. John, bye. Matt, Alex, Raph, everybody else who watched in the crowd today. Thank you. Much love. We'll see you guys at the top. That's it. All right, I'm done. Out of here.
See you at the top.
See you
Let's
at the
go.
top. Let's go.
Many ways to the top.